Hey YouTube, this is part 2 of a series where I'm covering the cars that I've been fortunate enough to own in my car journey. In this video, we're diving into my second car, the Mazda RX-8, the spiritual successor to the RX-7, one of the most controversial and fascinating rotary power cars Mazda ever made. Known for its unique styling, high-revving rotary engine, and rear hinge doors, the RX-8 is a car that enthusiasts either loved or avoided. But there's a lot more to the story than you might think. My RX-8 was a 2004 Velocity Red Grand Touring model. And I'll be honest, it was one of the most fun cars I've ever owned. The rotary engine screamed at 9,000 RPMs.
It's over 9,000!
And it's something that factory piston engines have a hard time replicating. Few, in fact, ever get that far. Having been an S2000 owner, I can tell you that I would call this as close to a four-door S2000 as you can get. The handling was razor sharp, the steering was great, and the cabin felt sporty yet premium for its time, and the attention it got, especially from those who knew what it was, always made it special. But yes, it was a car that required respect. You couldn't just treat it like a Camry and expect it to be bulletproof. I had to learn to take care of it, but in return it rewarded me with unforgettable drives and a real connection to the machine. I bought mine in 2007 after selling my FC. This was the first car I had ever financed, and it was used with 20,000 miles. This was also the first car I felt heartbreak over after I got rid of it. So let's do a quick overview of the platform. The production years of the RX-8, starting in Japan, was from 2003 to 2012. The US availability was really from 2004 to 2011. With this platform, Mazda released a new 1.3-liter Renesis rotary engine, which was multi-side port, and it was non-turbo, which was a change-up from the 13B REW made popular by the FD RX-7. As for horsepower, the automatic had 197 horsepower and it was lower revving. And these had more problems because they only had one oil cooler and the transmission was absolutely terrible. The 6-speed manual was first launched as stated with 250 horsepower, but there was some controversy around that, and it was later revised to 238 horsepower. However, this one revved to 9,000 RPMs, and this was absolutely hands down the one to get. 0 to 60 times were about 6.4 to 7 seconds depending on transmission. I remember some articles and people claiming about 6 seconds. I think somebody went down even to 5.9, but that would require you to burn the clutch out. Quarter mile was approximately 15 seconds. Curb weight was about 3,050 pounds to 3,100 pounds, again depending on your configuration, which was pretty light, and even by today's standards, pretty light. However, the FD came in at around 2,700 to 2,800 pounds, so this was a little bit heavier. Fuel economy is one area where this car hurt the most. It was rated at 16 to 18 miles per gallon city and 22 to 24 miles per gallon highway. With a 1.3-liter engine, it's hard to believe, but again, it's a different sort of engine. But it was definitely not good on gas. I remember getting, if I was lucky, about 250 miles on a tank. It'd burn right through it. With that being said, the car had some unique features. Of course, the layout was front engine rear-wheel drive. It had freestyle rear hinge doors, which is still a standout today. It had near perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Mazda's very good at doing that. You see that around in the MX-5 today. Now, the cream of the crop, the high-revving rotary engine with the smooth power delivery. It was so smooth that sometimes if my foot was accidentally resting on the gas pedal at a stoplight, it would be sitting at 4,000 RPMs, and I couldn't tell unless I looked over at the tachometer. With the rotary engine being compact and lightweight, it was placed behind the front axle for better balance. The notable trims and special editions you had were the Sport, Touring, and Grand Touring, and you had progressive features like leather, Bose audio, navigation, sunroof, and HID headlights. You had the Shinka edition, which was luxury focused with the unique interior trim and the exterior color. And my all-time favorite, the R3, which came out from 2009 to 2011. This was a track-focused edition that had Bilstein shocks, Recaro seats, and a unique aero package. Before buying my S2000, I actually considered one of these in blue, since they are significantly cheaper, but in the end, I went with the AP1. Some other notable features was the digital speedometer with a nice center tach that revved all the way to 9,000, even a little bit past 9,000 to about 9,200, but the actual tachometer went to 10,000 for the manual models only, and this cannot be understated. It also featured a lightweight aluminum hood and other lightweight components, and the chassis was balanced for exceptional cornering. Now let's move on to its competitors. During its time on the market, the RX-8 competed with several performance-oriented coupes and sedans, such as the Nissan 350Z, the Honda S2000, the Mustang GT, the BMW E46 3 Series Coupe, the Subaru WRX STI, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Every single one of the cars on this list was faster both in a straight line and on a track. Pretty much all of them got better gas mileage and would have been considered more reliable. But what the RX-8 brought to the table was a completely different value proposition. It is a car about risks and being set apart. There's only two other cars on the list whose engine had some real character, and that is the S2000 and the E46 M3. And I can tell you that neither of them were as smooth. Where the S2000 lacked rear seats and usability, the RX-8 made up for it. And where the E46 lacked rear doors, the RX-8 had you covered. It did get some awards and recognition. It won International Engine of the Year in the 1.0 to 1.4 liter category, which is of course a small category, but the Renesas got that for that special rotary engine with the MSP design. It also got Car and Driver's 10 Best. It was featured multiple years in the mid-2000s, and various publications listed it as best sports car for under $40,000. Since rotaries and reliability go hand in hand, let's talk about some of the common issues. You would get flooded engines on cold starts. This was normally caused by short trips, and if you shut the car off improperly, which means if the car hasn't warmed up and you just shut it off, there's a high potential that the engine would flood. People can see low compression, and that's caused by apex seal wear over time. You have coil pack failures, which can lead to misfires and hard starts, as well as catalytic converter failures, which often related to misfires or oil burning. So let's talk about some key reliability fixes. An upgraded ignition system. You can get aftermarket coils, plugs, and wires, which will vastly improve ignition performance and longevity. You can pre-mix with 2-stroke oil in the fuel whenever you fill up. This can help lubricate the apex seals and extend engine life. This is debatable, but many rotary veterans will swear by it. Ensure that you properly warm up the car and you shut it down properly as well, so you avoid short trips, and ensure that the engine reaches operating temperature before shutting it down. This will prevent flooding. I suggest regular compression testing to check on the health of that beloved rotary engine. Your oil maintenance. Make sure you check your oil every time you fill up, because the rotary engine will burn oil by design. Keep a quart of oil in the car and fill up as necessary. And if you have a 2004 to 2008 model, check to see if your PCM was reflashed to MSP16. This increases meter oil lubrication amount during engine start and changes the ignition timing during high ambient air temperature conditions. This significantly increased reliability, and the dealership was seeing much less blown motors. And if you can find one to buy, if you buy a 2009 model year and up, they received a third oil injector, which also significantly increased the engine reliability. My summary on the RX-8 is this: it's a car that deserves more credit than it gets. Yes, it had its flaws, but many of them are fixable, and when properly maintained, it's a genuinely unique driving experience. Most of all, I appreciate that Mazda took a risk on this car and kept giving us a rotary power plant, which we still haven't seen another since, though one may be on the horizon soon. Whenever I see one on the road now, I can't help but reflect on my years of ownership from 2007 to 2010. Those were some good days. If you want something with real character, motorsport roots, and the kind of engine you'll never forget, the RX-8 is still a bargain in today's used market. Just go in with your eyes open, learn the car, and it will absolutely reward you. Up next in my garage, we will cover my 2010 Mazda Speed 3, which happens to be part 3 in this series. For now, enjoy some footage of the RX-8 going around the track on Laguna Seca. Thank you, God bless you and your family, and I'm out.